Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warband. In today's episode, Kriegs clash with the Tau. If you haven't seen the other episodes of the campaign, you can find them in the recommended videos. Anyway, I'm Simone and I'll play the Kriegs.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I play the Tau. Before we started, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you are not subscribed yet and want to help us, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys.
After blowing up the defense line bunker, the Tau managed to infiltrate the Imperial territory. Smoke was spotted from afar and the alarm was raised along the line. The defenses were broken through. The closest kill team is that of the Kriegs, so they are immediately repositioned in the area to perform the new important task, although they still carry the document that the governor is waiting. Their task will be to detect the presence of intruders and identify them. Today's mission is Sensor Grid. The two kill teams will have to deploy within these two areas. In this game there are no objectives but points of interest, and they are arranged in this way. The Kriegs will have to place sensors on each of the places, earning 1 victory point for each sensor placed at the end of the turn. A fixed sensor action costs 1 AP.
Tau instead gain 1 victory point at the end of the battle round for each sensor controlled, and 1 for every 2 buildings with no sensors. Also, at the end of the game, for every sensor removed, Tau would gain 1 victory point. To remove a sensor, I need to control it and costs 1 AP. The player with the most victory points at the end is the winner. The game will last 4 turns. Both armies start with 2 command points, earning 1 point at the start of each round.
The Kriegs kill team managed to recover the squad member Arthur, who was kidnapped by the orcs in the previous fight. He escaped from the clutches of the orcs by running through toxic fields covered with pools of acid. Once reunited, the Kriegs are ready to carry out their new mission: identify the enemy by placing a grid of sensors. They will have to postpone the delivery of the document and be able to not lose it. The kill team is made up of 10 veteran guardsmen operatives and 1 ancillary support option. The leader of the kill team is a veteran sergeant armed with plasma pistol and power weapon. His second in command is the confident veteran armed with a bolt gun. He'll take the lead in case something happens to the leader. Heavy weapons are handled by 3 gunner veterans armed with a flamer, a plasma gun and a melta-gun. The last one is Arthur, who having spent too much time inhaling the toxic fumes of the acid, has a battle scar. His lungs are inflamed and moving around causes him pain. His movement is reduced by a circle. The other kill team operatives are Medic, Zealot, Demolition, Sniper and Spotter. As ancillary support, I have chosen Trooper Veterans, which allows me to deploy 4 additional Trooper operatives. The leader has chosen 4 Cadians as support. The kill team has 3 requisition points left to use in upgrades. I spent 1 point on equipment drop, assigning a rosary to the Zealot and a chronometer to the Confident. In addition, I give the topographical chart that I have in inventory from the last game to the Spotter. Then I spent another requisition point on Tactical Uplink, which allows me to use a tactical ploy for free every turn. My base has also a med bay built last game.
The explosion of the bunker raised a lot of smoke, and I'm sure it didn't go unnoticed. The Krieg team is trying to get as much information as possible by placing sensors everywhere. We can't afford to reveal our position. Remove all the sensors you find. The Tau kill team is made up of 12 Pathfinder operatives. The leader is a Shasui armed with Pulse Carbine. The other team members are a communication specialist and a transpectral interference to take care of communications, and a Soul Grenadier and a Blooded Pathfinder to form the front line, and a medical technician to deal with the wounded. 2 weapon experts, 1 with a ray rifle and 1 with an ion rifle. A marksman to protect the team from afar, and finally a drone controller with an MB3 recon drone and an MB4 shield drone. In the last game, the drone controller suffered a severe concussion and now has -1 to the ballistic skill. Meanwhile, the Blooded died and has been replaced thanks to the requisition operative assigned that costs 1 requisition point. The kill team has 2 requisition points left to use in upgrades. I spent 1 point on the strategic asset Aerial Surveillance Drone and 1 for equipment drop, assigning orbital scan to the drone controller and an EMP grenade plus the fusion grenade that I had in inventory to the interference pathfinder. The Tau base also has a tactical uplink created in a previous game.
I have deployed the Kriegs quite evenly along the drop zone, in order to be able to reach as many buildings as possible in the first turn. Most models have the Conceal order, so they offer few targets to the Tau.
I tried to deploy my team to cover as much battlefield as possible. On the left I placed the leader along with the shield drone and the grenadier, who will take care of the container at the top. Marksman and Blooded will control access to the center of the map, while the rest of the team will try to keep the right side of the battlefield.
It's time to do the scouting phase. Each of us chooses a number of dice equal to the corresponding number of the choice. 1 for Fortify, 2 for Infiltrate and 3 for Recon. Blue dice for the Tau and grey dice for the Kriegs. I chose Recon while Andrea chose Fortify. This means that the initiative of the first round goes to the Astra.
Being the defender, I begin the scouting phase by placing the barrier here to better cover my operatives.
Julius does a forward dash thanks to Recon, positioning himself behind the trees. Then, my topographical chart allows me to carry out a second different action in the scouting phase, and I have chosen to place the barrier in front of these 3 models. In the first round, I use the strategic ploy into the breach for 1 command point, thanks to which I have the possibility to perform a free dash action with the models in the drop zone. Small note, you pointed out to me in the comments of the last Krieg video that this ploy must be used directly in the strategic phase. I've listened to you, I swear, but during the game I forgot it, and by force of habit I activate it again during the firefight phase. I'm sorry, don't try this at home. In any case, beyond this small mistake, my leader gives the order move to models within 6 inches of him, increasing their movement by 1 inch.
Instead, I spend a command point on the strategic ploy Take Cover, improving Tau save characteristic by 1 when in cover. Also, my Shasui uses his ability Art of War, and I choose the Art Mont Ka. Just for this turn, when a friendly operative with engage order is activated, he can perform a free dash action.
I reveal the TACOP Seize Ground. As terrain, I choose the blue container in front of my drop zone. If at the end of the battle I control it and there are no enemies nearby, I score 2 victory points.
I reveal the faction TACOP Killing Blow. If at the end of the turning point we're incapacitated more enemies than friendly operatives, I gain 1 victory point. The second TACOP I reveal is Retrieval. Simone has to place a token anywhere in the kill zone that is not on a vantage point and is not within 3 inches of his drop zone.
To make life difficult for Andrea, I place the marker just over 3 inches from my drop zone, where I can safely control it. The first to move is Julius, as he is too exposed. With a movement action, he approaches the container and prepares to affix the first sensor. First victory point for me. Having group activation too, I can activate another Cadian. Byro follows his partner's lead and reaches the second container. With the remaining action, he affixes the second sensor, thus reaching 2 victory points.
Finn Sunil, my drone controller, does the orbital scan action on the enemy leader. The target and any models within 1 inch of him get a marker-like token.
Kirov, the spotter, watches the battlefield with the binoculars and manages to locate the recon drone. Contacting the command, she starts a mortar barrage on him. 5 shots at 4+. 3 successful hits, 2 of which are critical.
The recon drone saves with 3 dice at 4+. 1 critical and 1 normal hit saved. Not bad.
The mortar barrage being a blast shot, hits all the models within a circle of the first target, so in this case it also hits the Transpectral and the Marksman. 5 shots at 4+ also on them starting from the first. 2 hit, 1 critical and 1 normal.
Nodial saves with 5+. He also manages to save the critical.
And now on the Marksman. 3 hits including a crit. I love this spotter.
I hate him. Saving at 5+. Just a normal shot. 3 wounds to you, 3 to you too, and 5 wounds plus injury to you. The medic Toreva, seeing the scene, runs in the direction of the marksman to help him, healing 2d3 wounds. 4 wounds, almost at full life.
Tess, the sniper, takes aim at the target indicated by the spotter and opens fire. 4 shots at 2+ against the recon drone. 6 and 4, nice!
Saving again at 4+. No 6s, so I can only save the normal hit. 6 wounds to the drone. Nodial uses movement and dash to hide behind the red container.
Vance, with movement and dash, joins his companion next to the container. Grolin instead places the third sensor on the wall next to him and remains to check that everything is working as it should.
The recon drone, tired of being targeted, moves behind the wall into cover.
Victor, the leader, activates and with movement and dash moves behind the central container hidden from the side of the Tau.
The shield drone uses movement and dash to reach the blue container.
Arthur, the injured gunner, is hiding behind the wall. His task will be to control the marker that Andrea must recover.
Savu also uses movement and dash to reach the blue container, but he stops behind the barrier.
Patrick, the flamer, uses movement and dash and positions himself next to the leader.
The leader Nasue uses movement and dash to reach the grenadier.
Yenne, the zealot, advances towards the blue container and positions herself behind the barrier.
One of the heavy gunners, Naseu, uses movement and dash to get behind the red container.
Alexander the medic tries to stay close to his companions to be ready to heal them, just in case.
Yantel moves close to the recon drone, in cover behind the column.
Hector uses the free dash action to move forward, then using the plasma targets the Tau with the railgun, 4 shots at 4+. 2 successful hits, one of which is critical.
With -1 penetration, Anna May saves with 2 dice at 5+. Yeah, I guess she's dead.
Great job, one less fish with hooves. Hector uses the remaining action to move behind the trees.
Not being able to see anyone, Reisa passes her turn.
Raphael the Confidant uses movement plus the free dash from the strategic ploy and positions himself next to the central container. Then, with the second action, he places the fourth sensor.
Like the marksman, Pingu, the Blooded, also passes his turn.
Alasar searches for a better position using movement and dash. Trees will be fine for hiding. The first round went pretty well. I was able to advance across the battlefield and keep most of the models hidden. Hector took out a Tau with an important weapon, and this gives me an advantage. 4 sensors were placed by the Astra, so that's 4 victory points for me this turn. In the next round, I will have to try to place more and defend the ones I have already placed.
Well, this round was pretty bad for me. I was hoping to take out some Kriegs while trying to place the sensors, but Simone put most of his operatives in concealed order and hid behind the containers. At the end of this battle round, I earned 1 victory point thanks to the 3 buildings left with no sensors.
Second turn, rolling for initiative. There we go, a nice roll!
Sure, the initiative is yours.
The only strategic ploy I use this turn is clear the line. Whenever my operative fights in close combat, I can retain a successful normal hit without rolling it.
I use once again the strategical ploy Take Cover, hoping that it can be useful this turn.
Patrick makes an important move by getting in front of the 2 Tau hiding behind the container. Grabbing the flamethrower, he releases a blaze that hits both of them. 5 shots at 2+. 4 hit.
Naseo saves with 3 dice at 5+. Just 1.
I mean, who doesn't like grilled fish? Another 5 shots at 2+ on the other Tau. Perfect! Having only 4 wounds and 3 defense dice, Andrea cannot save him. Dinner is ready, folks.
Alright. Nodial is removed from the battlefield and Naseo is injured with 1 wound left. It's BBQ's turn, the recon drone, who moves to see the enemies and then uses his ability Analyze on the medic. After that, I can activate a friendly operative, and for that activation he can reroll the attacks made against that target. Savu gets over the barrier and reaches the container. There he throws an EMP grenade on the enemy medic. The EMP has the little X rule, where X is the target's defense value, which in this case is 5. For attacks at 3, rerolling the 2s thanks to Analyze. All hit with 1 crit.
3 defense dice at 5+ for the medic. Ha! Perfect roll! 3 dice saved out of 3. The doctor knows how to protect himself.
The EMP has an explosion area of 2 inches, so every model within circle of the medic is targeted by the grenade, starting from the Zealot for attacks at 3. Just 2 crits.
The Zealot tries to save herself from the grenade with 3 dice at 5+. Failing them all. Luckily, the Zealot has the ability that allows her to reroll all the dice. Much better! At least 1 critical was saved. Yenne takes 3 wounds from the remaining critical. Now she has 4.
And now, 4 more attacks at 3 on Decadian. All hit with a crit as well.
Decadian also tries to defend himself from the grenade at 5+. Okay, not even a dice saved. Decadian collapses to the ground covered in shrapnel. Alexander the medic is near the wounded and with his ability he stabilizes him. Instead of dying, Decadian is left with only 1 wound and is injured. Time to put the wounds! The medic and Decadian lose an APL for the medic's ability. Then Alexander is left with 5 wounds, Yenne with 4 and Decadian with 1. Kirov continues in a role as spotter and calls another mortar barrage, this time on the most exposed Tau, which is the medic, then also hitting the marksman, the recon drone and the bloated for the blast rule. 5 shots at 4+ on the medic. Only 1 hit and it's a critical.
Okay, I need A6 or 2 5s. I got both. Well, nice roll. You're safe.
The second shot is on the recon drone. This time there are 3 successful hits.
This time I need 3 4s to save the drone. Nope.
The next to get hit is the marksman. Again, 5 shots at 4+. 1 normal and 1 critical hit.
I need a 6 and a 5 at least. Just 2 5s. Means that only the crit is saved.
And the last one is the bloated. Oh my! Not only did I hit them all, but there are also 3 criticals. I think the shot fell on his head.
Ouch! I guess I need to save with all 3 dice at 5. Just a 6. Too bad. Fortunately, Toreva is ready with the stretcher to save him. Let's recap. BBQ is removed from the battlefield. Pingu has 1 wound left thanks to the medic, and Reisa remains with 4 wounds. What a disaster! Yantel activates a move behind the barrier. Then, seeing the confidant in front of him, fires 4 shots at 4+, hitting only with 2.
Raphael tries to save the shots at 5+. One is saved, but the other passes. 4 wounds that leave him with only 3, plus the injury. The confidant activates after being hit. Using his ability, he selects the leader as the next model to activate after him, then moves forward beside the barrier and decides to open fire on the Tau gunner. 4 shots at 5+ due to the injury. Okay, I would say that in this game I'm doing some very good dice rolls.
Do you think? Saving 3 dice at 5? Nope. He's dead. Goodbye, Nassau.
Activated thanks to the ability of the confidant, Victor changes the order in Conceal, and with movement and dash, he goes to position himself behind the machinery.
Reisa tries to avenge her teammates by targeting the flamer and firing 4 shots at 3, hitting them all, including a crit.
I knew exposing him like this would end him, but firing the flamer on the 2 Tau was too good not to try. Patrick is the first Krieg to be eliminated.
With the second action, the marksman moves to find a better position.
The medic heals the Zealot with the only action he has left. Alexander can heal 2d3 wounds. 5 wounds! Yenne is in full shape again, as if nothing had happened. Well done!
Fiend Sunil moves. Then, with his second action, he takes his console to control the drone and activates Eve, the shield drone, that moves closer to the Grenadier to protect him.
Julius moves over the barrier and arrives alongside the leader. Once there, with the second action he places a sensor on the machine. This is the 5th sensor. Vance changes the order in Conceal and positions himself where his companion was before, next to the container.
To avoid being targeted again, the medic changes his position quickly.
Alassar uses movement and dash to get to the other side of the container, so Andrea won't be able to try to remove the sensor as I control the point of interest.
Nasue, seeing the Krieg approaching, moves to have him in plain sight, and fires 4 shots at 3, hitting a critical and 2 normal.
The Demolition tries to defend himself with 3 dice at 5+. Failing them all. He had just come, damn it! And the second Krieg goes away. Yenne moves to avoid getting another grenade on her during the Overwatch. Arrived next to the yellow machine, the Zealot performs the action of the mission and places the 6th sensor.
Pingu doesn't want to take any more wounds, so he hides better behind the wall.
Byron moves to avoid making the same end as Alassar. Grolin instead uses movement and dash to reach his companions next to the container and control the area.
Finally, the first Overwatch. The comms points his binoculars at the Krieg in front of him and then shoots him 4 shots at 5 because of the -1 of the Overwatch, hitting only with a crit.
The confidant needs to save the critical with 3 dice. Perfect, no problem. Arthur, better known as the Guardian of the Marker, passes the turn as there are no threats to his precious treasure.
The second to do Overwatch is the Grenadier, who takes no penalty for shooting. He throws a fusion grenade on the Zealot, making 4 shots at 3. Rerolling the one with a command point. Still miss, just to hit.
With -2 penetration, I can only roll 1 defense dice at 5+. Saved! To prevent my Zealot from being injured, I use the rosary I assigned to her, which allows me to ignore the wounds of an attack dice. In this case, I ignore the remaining dice. Who says fate doesn't save you? Tess, the sniper, has no target in sight, so she has to pass the turn. Hector moves to reach a better position. Climbing over the barrier, he targets the comms in front of him. 4 shots at 4. Ah, only 1. Unfortunately, Andrea can save it automatically with the cover. Apparently, I've started taking losses too, but at the moment I've done more kills than he has and I continue to have the advantage. With the 2 sensors placed in this round, I earn 6 victory points, which added to those of the last turn bring me to 10. A clear gap. But the game is not over yet. Andrea can easily recover by eliminating the sensors one by one in the next round. I have to make sure to control the points of interest close to his models and stop him from advancing towards the center.
And even this turn was not the best. With the dice I'm rolling, I'm having a hard time eliminating the Kriegs to take control of the sensors. Right now, I still have just 2 victory points. In the next turn, I have to be able to complete my OP specs, and I need to absolutely remove some sensor in order to gain important victory points. There are still 2 rounds left. I can do it.
Rolling for initiative. Another beautiful roll.
And you have the initiative. Again.
In this turn, I use two strategic ploys, Take Cover, which allows me to improve the save characteristic by 1 when the model is in cover, and Clear the Line, which allows me to keep an attack as successful during combat without rolling it. Yenne changes the order to engage and fires on the Tau in front of her. 4 shots at 4+. It could have been better. Just a critical hit.
The Children attempts to protect Sabu and rolls 3 dice at 4+. Saving the crit! Good job, Eve!
With the second action, the Zealot charges the Tau comms, blocking him in combat to prevent him from firing on the Confidant.
Sabu tries again to take out the medic, but this time he throws a fusion grenade at him, making 4 attacks on 3. Hitting with a critical and a normal hit. With 3 mortal wounds and -2 penetration, the medic can do nothing to save himself.
I was hoping the medic could survive. Damn it!
Then, as a second action, Sabu removes the sensor from the container.
The Confidant changes the order in Conceal, then with his ability he chooses the leader as the next model to activate after him. It's time to get out of the way and find a good place to hide. Victor activates thanks to the Confidant's ability and changes his order in Engage. Then he charges the Tau in front of him. With the second action, the leader fights, making 4 attacks at 2 with the power weapon. Thanks to Lethal 5+, he hits with 2 critical and 2 normal hits.
Yantel responds with 3 attacks on 5+, hitting with 2 crits.
Victor attacks with the first critical.
The comms also hit with the crit.
The Krieg eliminates the opponent with his second critical.
And even Yantel abandons us.
5 wounds left for you.
Reisa changes her order in Engage and moves to have the enemy leader in sight. Then fires 4 shots at 3+. With Lethal 5, it's 4 crits through.
I'll put the dice here to say he's dead, just in case it wasn't clear already. The plasma guy moves close to where the leader died and decides to avenge him, firing 4 shots at 4+. 1 is not enough for me. I reroll the dice with the free command point of this turn. Here is the second hit.
Ouch! Need to save 1 dice at 5+, as 1 is automatically saved for the cover. 1. Rerolling with a command point. And 1 again. It was destiny. I'm sorry, Reisa. I'm afraid you'll have to leave. Fin Sunil changes his order to engage and then fires at the Zealot 4 shots at 5 because of the battle scar. Wow! Nice shot!
3 dice at 5+ to save the Zealot. 2 already saved. I rolled the third dice thanks to her ability. Too bad! She suffered 4 wounds. So Yenne is left with 3 wounds and is injured.
With the second action, the drone controller activates Eve, that moves in the direction of the yellow machine and takes out the Krieg's sensor.
Being on the other side of the battlefield and too busy doing their important job of controlling the container, both Cadians pass.
Toreva activates and heals Pingu for 2d3 wounds. Just 3 wounds.
Arthur continues his role as the guardian of the marker and passes the turn.
Pingu, being no longer injured, is able to move towards the plasma and fires 4 shots at 3. Hitting only 2.
1 dice is already successful for the cover, so I have 2 dice to roll. Another success! Saved both shots! Julius goes around the machinery with movement and dash and hides behind the trees. Byro instead changes the order in Engage and makes a sacrifice by charging the enemy leader in close combat, without fighting, so as to prevent him from moving.
Nasue fights with the Cadian who just charged him. 3 attacks at 4. Those 2 crits are enough to knock out the Cadian before he can do anything.
You did your job. This is how Cadians die.
Then, with his second action, my leader shoots the other Cadian that has moved, making 4 shots at 3. Really? What is this roll?
Wow, I see your dice are pretty coordinated. Kirov the spotter has no one in sight and passes the turn.
I need to take out the Zealot, so the only one who can do it is Fin Sunil, but he hits on 6 because of the Overwatch. 4 hits on 6. 1 hit!
Yenne, you have to survive. You have a secret mission to do. 3 dice at 5+. All saved! The Emperor rewards your fate, Zealot. Tess, the sniper, may change order, move and shoot the drone, but instead, she will pass the turn for a reason you will understand later. The gap in points is too large to change the situation in the last turn, so in order not to prolong the video too much, we will briefly show you the highlights of the first round.
Obviously, in the last round I managed to take the initiative with a nice 6. What a joke! In the firefight phase, Pingu is activated first and shoots the plasma, eliminating him without too many problems.
Julius charges the drone controller. Neither of them die, but they deal a few wounds.
The drone controller attempts to take the Cadian off of him and fights again, taking only more wounds.
Yenne can finally accomplish her secret mission. With the nearby Tau locked in combat, the Zealot plants the flag in the opposing drop zone. I reveal the Takop, plant banner, and earn 2 more victory points at the end of the game.
Savu moves in the direction of the sniper and the spotter and throws an EMP grenade, leaving the sniper with a wound and eliminating the spotter. The Shasui gets on the container to get a better view and shoots the Confidant, eliminating him. And finally, my medic targets the Zealot, eliminating him with ease.
Her mission is now complete and she can leave the battlefield satisfied. At the end of the turn, I reveal the faction Takop, Glory in Death. Having lost more models than the opponent but having taken more victory points from the mission, I gain another 2 victory points. The game ends here with the victory of the Kriegs.
This match was a real disaster. Simone's spotter created many problems for me. Unfortunately, I was unable to take control of the battlefield as Simone started almost all the rounds, and with the dice going against me, it wasn't easy at all. The Tau have now been discovered and they must act quickly to complete their plan. There is no time to waste.
I am really satisfied with the game. My Kriegs took home the second victory of the campaign and convincingly. Having placed at least 4 sensors, they get a rare item to add to the inventory. You will choose this item in the next few days with a vote in the community section. Now that the Astra have found out about the Tau attack, they can organize themselves accordingly. Most importantly, the document is still in their hands. If they lost this game, they would be in trouble. At the end of the game, each operative who has been eliminated must take a casualty test to see if he's dead or has suffered battle scars. A d6 is rolled. On a 2+, the test passes. With 1, the operative suffers a battle scar, and with a second one, the operative is dead. Most of the Kriegs who died in this game passed the test without any problems. They will be able to fight in the next game without additional penalties. However, unlike last game, there were some problems during testing. My leader, Victor, was the first to roll a 1. Thanks to the medbay, I can reroll the dice, and this time 5 came out. Victor is safe. The medic also rolled 1. The result of the battle scar is 6, cerebral affliction. An excellent result. Alexander does not receive any battle scar, but does not take experience from this game. Hector the plasma gun also made 1. The next roll resulted in a 5, lingering ailment. In the next few games, he will suffer a reduction in movement by 1 circle. All in all, I can say that it could have been a lot worse. Lastly, Arthur takes a recovery test to see if he can heal from his battle scar. He needs 5+. Nope, he will keep his battle scar in the next game too.
Tau also have to pass the test, many of whom passed it without problems. Recondron and Marksman aside, they rolled a 1. The Recondron in the next game will be affected by the battle scar sapped strength that gives a -1 to the drone's weapon skill. The Marksman instead has the lingering ailment. In the next game, he will have his movement characteristic reduced by 2 inches. The drone controller, on the other hand, at the end of the game can try to remove his battle scar with a 5+, and with a beautiful 6, he returns to full strength.
And with this, we conclude. If you like our content and want to help us grow the channel, we have an account on the platform Buy Me a Coffee where you can support us with donations. Any help you can give us to improve the channel is welcome. We are counting on you. The link is in description.
And if you have come this far, write the word Pingu in the comments to let us know. You are the best. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!